You know that feeling, right? We've all been there. You're in a good conversation, everything's flowing, and then a simple mix-up happens. There's a weird silence, and suddenly things feel tense. So how do you fix that without making it even worse? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down a really simple, super effective playbook for turning those awkward moments right back into easy connections. It's wild how it almost always starts small, doesn't it? You get a time wrong, maybe a casual comment just lands the wrong way. One minute you're totally connecting, and the next there's just static in the air. It's a universally awkward feeling, for sure. But what if I told you the fix was surprisingly simple?
Okay, so the first and honestly most crucial step is all in your head. It's a mental shift. A misunderstanding isn't a battle you have to win or some big debate about who's right and who's wrong. Nope, it's just a moment of confusion. And once you start seeing it that way, everything changes.
This slide really just boils it down to the basics. Think about it like a radio signal that's just a little bit off. You know, one person is broadcasting a message, but the other person's receiver has a tiny bit of static. There's really no one to blame here. It's just a temporary glitch in communication.
And here is the perfect everyday example. I mean, we've all been here. It's easy to see why one person might be annoyed, right? They were left waiting. But the other person isn't a bad friend. They genuinely heard Friday. The entire solution starts right here, just by recognizing, oh, this was an honest mix-up.
So, you've identified the problem. It's just a bit of confusion. Now what? Well, now comes the actual solution, the apology. And this isn't about some grand, dramatic speech. As we're about to see, it's all about using a few simple but incredibly powerful words. What's so amazing about these phrases is just how direct they are. I'm sorry is the classic, right? I didn't mean to helps clarify your intention. It was my mistake takes full ownership, no excuses. And please forgive me, while that's a truly sincere request to fix things. Just think of these as different tools you can have in your communication toolkit. And here we see that whole principle in action. Now pay attention to what the person who is late doesn't do. They don't get defensive, they don't make a bunch of excuses. They just say, I'm sorry, and give a very brief, honest reason. That one little move immediately dials down the tension and opens the door for a solution. Okay, this point is absolutely critical. I can't stress this enough. The words themselves are only half the equation. If your tone is sarcastic or it feels forced, the apology is basically useless. A gentle, sincere, I'm sorry is 100 times more effective than a mumbled or angry one. So, a sincere apology opens the door, but how do you actually walk through it and get back to normal? That brings us to our final step, reconnecting. This is the part where you actively work to rebuild that bridge. These phrases are your bridge back to a good place. Let's start again. I mean, that's a powerful reset button. I understand now, shows the other person you were actually listening. And no hard feelings, that's just a beautiful way of saying, hey, we're good. Let's just leave that moment in the past. And this, right here, is what a healthy exchange looks like. One person takes responsibility, and this is just as important. The other person doesn't hold on to the mistake. They accept the apology and immediately offer a way forward. That is how strong connections are built and, how they're maintained. All right, we've covered the what, the how, and the why. So now let's pull it all together into a simple, memorable playbook that you can use anytime a little mix-up happens. When you really boil it all down, the entire process is just this simple 3-part flow. First, you explain the confusion so you're both on the same page. Second, you offer a sincere apology to acknowledge their feelings. And third, you actively reconnect to show you're ready to move on. Explain, apologize, reconnect. It really is that simple. And here they are, your essential go-to phrases, all in one spot. Think of this as your cheat sheet. Honestly, having just 1 or 2 of these ready to go in your mind can take all the panic out of an awkward moment and give you a clear path forward. I want to end on this thought because it's so powerful. Saying sorry isn't about admitting you lost or that you're weak. It's about choosing connection over your ego. It's an act of kindness, not just for the other person, but for yourself too. So the next time a misunderstanding happens, what are you going to choose?